Hey, this is Notser, and today we're doing a controversial topic. This is the Tier 6 Julius Caesar. This is a work in progress. The stats are definitely not final. This is the iteration that Wargaming has deemed acceptable to be up tier to Tier 6. I want to share with you all of the different characteristics that I can notice in a game that honestly was the worst possible matchup for this ship. This is a Tier 6 Julius Caesar in a Tier 8 match. This is the thing that really concerned players, Now that it's Tier 6, it can see the big guns. Can it hold up to the North Carolinas, the Amagis, the Bismarcks, the Richelieus of the Tier 8 bracket? Well, we'll see. Now, I had my build on the screen, and I'm happy to report that it's the same build as my Tier 5 Julius Caesar from a commander standpoint. For the modules, since it is Tier 6, they have unlocked the ability to equip Slot 4, which was Acceleration, Rudder Shift, and Damage Control Duration, the Duration of Floods and Fires. I invested in the Duration of Floods and Fires. It's a typical, Battleship tank build edition. All of that feels fine. They increased the amount of armor that is on the bow and the stern to 25 versus 19, and the armor around the top of the hull to 25 versus 19. And unfortunately, that is all they have done to this ship. Literally everything else is exactly the same. The exact same gun system, reload, gun range, turret traverse, you name it, it hasn't changed. AA system, and in particular, that's going to be what is shown off in this match, and it's going to be really bad. It's probably the most glaring feature that keeps this from not being viable at Tier 6. They need to change it. But, we're doing good damage so far against these ships. They're cruisers. They don't have any more or less armor than I'm used to. So I'm not surprised that I'm doing a good job against them. Unfortunately, the enemy aircraft carrier is also dropping my friendly that's near me, and I'm trying to contribute a little bit of AA, but as you're going to see, there's not much that I can contribute. If I'm going to be completely frank with you, the ship's AA is garbage. It was garbage at Tier 5, it is especially garbage at Tier 6. And for whatever reason, my crosshair, my target selection switched to the North Carolina, but the annoying Italian was able to finish off the enemy Helena. So we're doing all right, and yeah, the audio is freaking squirrely and weird. I don't know why certain audio cues are so loud compared to other ones. I've tried to dial in the sound so they're not crazy loud, but there's still going to be some situations where it's just too loud right now, and I apologize for that. But as we're pushing up, we got that North Carolina. Enemy Prince Idol Friedrich, the one that was over here, is very low, and he absolutely should and has died. But I want to work on this North Carolina now. The North Carolina isn't a normal opponent for the Julius Caesar. This is, in fact, probably the first time this North Carolina has ever faced a Julius Caesar. And 2 ricochet, 1 failed to pen, did about 4,000 damage, and we certainly couldn't keep the friendly Pensacola alive. Not at all. But friendlies are doing a good job of pumping in good salvos against the North Carolina, and he is broad enough that I can absolutely punish. So I maintain good angling. I mean, man, am I looking for that Citadel. I'm just not getting it, and of course the bomb is going to go off, and we're just going to try and avoid as much damage as possible. At least we're still alive. Looks like the North Carolina is committing to turning. This shell caliber, 320. Yes, 320 going up against a 406 millimeter. It doesn't really have a good chance of penetrating unless the target has a clean broadside, or I could shoot the super. And we're just doing a quick little test, and of course it all ricochets. I should have gone super. He is going to return fire, and I have no armor to stop him. Absolutely no armor. 25, not adequate to stop the 406. So he could just pump and get into my citadel and do full damage. I'm hoping that maybe this little bit of front gun can take advantage, but a friendly, the annoying Italian once again, is able to take advantage of him, finish him off, and we're still alive. Somehow. But we're definitely under fire from the enemy aircraft carrier, and I expect that to remain for the duration. I mean, come on. 2 enemy aircraft carriers, 1 tier 6, 1 tier 8. You know they're going to go after the pretty isolated Italian. And this Fuso, right? We're pumping shells into each other. I think he's got high explosive loaded for whatever reason. I know, whatever. Players of all types you fight. I'm going to use the island to block most of his line of sight. And I'm going to try and engage this either enemy ranger, or if I can, one of the enemies that's sort of on the other side. So from my standpoint right now, guns are great. I don't feel like I'm missing out on my guns. The maneuverability is absolutely wonderful. I think that it does a great job of avoiding a lot of shells that other lines just don't have that capability. But the gun range is horrendous. 16.4 is a joke at tier 8. I've got tier 8 cruisers that have better range than me. And most battleships outrange me by at least 1 kilometer, if not 2, 3, 4, or 5. I think wargaming, one of the things that you can do to make it feel a little bit more successful at tier 6, give it a little bit more gun range. If I had a little bit more gun range, I could have a little bit more impact on locations that, yeah, I wouldn't necessarily have the pin, and maybe that's what they're afraid of, you know, the 320. It's not going to have great pin over range, but it just, I want to be able to do stuff, and I don't feel like I can contribute like other battleships, because I am a tier 5 battleship for all intents and purposes in a tier 8 match. So, friendly is still trying to assist me with the enemy aircraft carrier. That ranger is trying to wrap himself around the island, I think. Fuso is still blocked by the island, which is great. There's a couple enemy cruisers that they're running away from my exact location. And, of course, torpedo bomber is trying to drop us. I'm going to unload my shell. I'm hoping that I can avoid, take minimal damage. I think we're good. I think the speed of the ship holds well. Yep, there we go. Cool. But as far as this is concerned, I am not enjoying playing tier 8s in this ship. I have to work way too hard to be just adequate. I can't even dominate. I can't even feel like I'm anywhere close to that. I can pick on targets that can't really pick on me, but the moment I run up against, you know, a tier 8 or something that is in the control of a high skill commander that maybe they have more investment, it really feels inadequate. So I'm hoping that wargaming is just going to slowly improve its performance. Because as it stands right now, I see no reason for this to be a tier 6. I don't want this. I want to feel like the ship itself is still adequate to competitive in these environments. I just don't feel that now that it has to go up against tier 8s. I definitely don't feel it in the AA department. The AA is pathetic. It's horrendous. It's egregious. It's everything that you hate about ships that feel so helpless. And this is quite literally the most powerful the AA has ever felt. You know, through all of the hotfixes, this should be the most power we could ever expect. And it's not doing anything. You know, it's barely breaking 10,000 AA DPS. And it just shows. It really shows just how easy it is for them to harass me. But, oh, those guns. Oh, the guns are so good. It doesn't really matter. If the target's broadside, they're going to go in and they're going to find damage. So this Fuso clearly made a huge mistake. Clearly we're able to punish really effectively. But I'm actively maneuvering. I'm trying to not die to multiple enemies as I'm trying to kill this Fuso. And of course we know he's going to try. I don't know why he's firing that. Friendly Furious is able to finish him off, and I can continue moving forward. We have a base advantage, clearly, and the enemy aircraft carriers are grouped up so tight that I can totally punish them. But I gotta make my way over there under unrelenting attacks from both enemy aircraft carriers. He even goes so far as to drop a fighter to keep me spotted like a big old jerk. Oh. I did not enjoy this experience. I did not enjoy this at all. I feel like just 1,000 mosquitoes that I can't possibly swat are flying over me every which way, and I just have to take it. I can't enhance it enough with manual AA or basic firing training or any of that to compensate for all of this terrible AA that has been jumped from Tier 5, and now it has to be adequate for Tier 8 matches. It's just not enough. Just not enough. But this Lexington, he's making quite a mistake. Look at this maneuverability. Like a glove. Oh, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And it still holds up. It's outstanding in its maneuverability. But AA, gun range, the armor itself, it's adequate. Tier 6s are going to hate going up against Tier 8s. They always hate when their armor means nothing. And this will absolutely have meaningless armor in a Tier 8 match. It just will. But the maneuverability is so good that I don't really feel like that's a big deal. So, enemy Lexington, sailing this way. We're, of course, lowering our AP. We're trying to Citadel him. We definitely get a Citadel there. And even more drops. And I hope everyone recognizes that we basically haven't shot any aircraft down since this concerted effort by them. Yeah, not a single one. And it feels like that. It feels like I can't get away from this. And I don't like that feeling. I don't think you're going to like that feeling. And that feeling's definitely there, unless they change it. Oh, come on. We got the Citadel on one. I think the second salvo with the back guns was a little too low in the waterline, so I got to wait for the reload. But unfortunately, Friendly was able to take out the Ranger. It's basically over. I would have to kill him right now in order to finish the game. It's just not going to happen. I'm just going to watch as his health just sits there mocking me. But, overall, we contributed to our team. The Julius Caesar absolutely can contribute in a Tier 8 match. There are just certain aspects that need to feel less incredibly annoying. We only shot down 6 aircraft over the entire duration, and we were the primary target for probably 10 minutes plus. Yeah. Guns are great, though. I love the guns. I always will. Julius Caesar has great guns. And if we can just update a little bit more, maybe it'll work. Leave in the comments what you think. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.